All right, greetings and salutations, everybody. I appreciate you guys being here with me today. Today's topic, as we are entering in a new week for our 40-day fast, this is week number 2, day number 8. And the title that I came up with is How We Come into This World. A lot of us are leaving the same way. How we come in this world, a lot of us are leaving the same way. So, appreciate you guys being here. And as Auntie Tab says, let's get right into it. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and school. I appreciate you guys all being here. Forgive me for looking around, but I'm trying to give all of you guys eye contact, okay? Now, let's get into it. I want to share something with you today, and I really want you to sit with it, okay? Because a lot of people, again, are leaving this world the same way they came in. And the thing is, you don't have to. The same way we came in does not have to be the same way that we leave, okay? Let me make it make sense. We came into this world where we needed someone to feed us, someone to bathe us, someone to help us move, and someone to care for us 24/7. And some of us were in diapers, some of us were droolers, completely just dependent on someone else for our survival, right? And that made sense then, but we were just getting here, right? So it makes sense then. But what's happening now is that many people, after a lifetime of habits, stress, disconnection from their bodies, we're returning to the same level of independence. Why do you guys think that is? Why do you guys think that is? Lifestyle, daily choices, absolutely. Patterns that were just never interrupted. So, as I say all the time, the top 9 of 10 diseases are what I call FTDs, food transmitted diseases. Food transmitted diseases. The top 9 out of 10 causes of death today are all because of food. Yes. Anytime you have any kind of heart complications, that's food. The big C, food. Complications from diabetes, food. The fourth one is the only one that doesn't have to do related to food, and that is the accidents like car wrecks and things of that nature. But everything else, all FTDs, food transmitted diseases. So let me be very clear, okay? This is not about judgment. I never do that. This is about awareness, you guys. Because if we don't pause and look at where our habits are leading us, we'll begin to normalize things like needing assistance to move, losing control over our bodies, and relying on others for basic care. Do you guys want to end up that way? Because a lot of people will just blame it on aging. Oh, we're just getting older. No. What it is that our patterns, our food choices. Okay? Let's stop to consider some of the actions that we make. Because this can easily be compared to investing, like how we move our money and how we invest in certain things. Our finances can be very much so compared to our physical health, okay? And this is why what you're doing right now matters. If you guys are a part of the fast, or even if you're not, if you're considering or you want to, consider these things right now, because it's not about what's happening this week or in the middle of not eating and your choices that you're making. It's about interrupting patterns that we tend to leave unchecked. If you continue the same patterns that you're doing right now, where do you think that's going to leave you 5 years from now? What do you think you're going to be? Where do you think you're going to be? Okay? What I want to tell you guys is that you still have agency. Okay? You still have the ability to shift your habits. You still have the ability to retrain your mind. You still have the ability to support your body differently than what you may be doing today. And that's not about fear, it's just about a choice. Okay? One of my exes used to say, "No, you choosing to get mad." That used to make me even madder. But the truth is, that is correct. We have choices. You don't want to give someone else full control over your mind or your thoughts and allow them to make you mad. We all have choices when it comes to food. And the thing is, even as sky high as the prices of food is today, you can still choose not to eat. You can still choose to fast because that actually should be normalized. We're not supposed to eat 3 times a day with snacks in between. That's not, they've normalized that, but that is not what we're supposed to do. Our body does not need that much food. And I know that's tough to hear, that's tough to really live by, but it's about retraining your mind to get there. You don't have to jump all in today, but we're training our minds to get there. Okay? Because the goal is not to necessarily live longer, it's to live better longer. Okay? Anybody want to live in a better body than what they have right now? Take the vanity out of it. How do you want to feel? How do you want to move? How do you want your knees to feel? Your eyes, your vision. I used to have terrible vision when I was a kid, but when I started eating better, my vision got better. Does that make sense? No, because a lot of times they say when we get older, our vision just goes, our hearing goes. No, all of those things increased once I started putting better fuel in my body. Okay? So again, this is not about living longer. This is about having a better quality of life. So as you guys continue this journey, don't just think about today. Don't just think about these next 30 days. Ask yourself better questions. Where are my current habits leading me if nothing changes? You guys answer. Where are your current habits leading you if nothing changes? You want to write that down and really sit with that thought, okay? Whenever you come to my lives, I want you guys to bring pen and pad, okay? And you school members, you guys already know. If nothing changes today, where do you think you're going to be in 5 years from now? And then I want you to remember, you don't have to end the way that you started. You don't. Not if you decide to do something differently, okay? So that's pretty much all I have for you guys. But now I have some questions for you because again, after this live, I want you to go back and do some deep journaling, do some deep thinking and visualization. A lot of times we talk about meditation, but and which is great. I definitely don't want to take anything away from that. But now I want you to kind of shift your thoughts and your meditation to things around what's going to happen, what am I going to look like, what am I going to feel like if I keep doing the same not so great habits around food? What's that life going to look like for me? And then the next question I have for you is, what is one habit that you've had that you're now questioning after starting this fast, if you have been in the fast? I know people from school, you guys are on the fast right now, right? So what is one habit that you've had that you're now questioning after starting this fast? Somebody says, eating just because it's time to eat, not because I'm hungry. Yes, we talked about that last night, right? The example that I gave with the woman in the store, in the grocery store. Yes. Just because your job says it's lunchtime, that don't mean you got to eat. There's so many other choices that you can have. Okay? Hey guys, I appreciate those hearts. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Someone that says snacking at night while watching TV. Yes, like I said, take your ass to bed. And again, I'm not just pointing those fingers at you. I've got 6 more pointing back at me because that's a habit that I'm looking to change myself. So it's really tough. I like to stay up late at night, studying, researching, writing, giving some information to you guys. So I'm pointing those fingers back at me. So I hear you. So we're gonna say we're gonna take our ass to bed instead of staying up watching TV late at night, and then we start snacking. Appreciate you. Okay. Someone else says eating out of boredom more than anything else. That happens a lot. We're just sitting on the couch, just chilling, nothing to do. We're off work, we're resting. Absolutely. Yes. Somebody says, I don't trust my hunger signals. Woo, that's a big one. That's a big one. Let me ask you guys from other places that this person is in my membership for my school. They said they don't trust their hunger signals. Do you guys know what that means? All right, if you don't, there are 7 human hungers, and only one of them is about true food. Okay. Now, I don't want to get into all of them because I want to encourage you guys to come into my school. That way, I can actually teach you guys what I really want you to know and not be censored by some of the things, right? If you're listening on YouTube or wherever else, you get 2 weeks access to my school. And we talk about the 7 hungers. And like I said, only one of them is true hunger. The other ones could be thirst. The other ones could be emotional hunger. It's so many different ones, right? So this person says they don't trust their hunger signals, which is huge, right? So how can you figure out which one that you're hungry for? I'm going to put that back on you. How can you figure out which hunger is truly calling for something? Because I talk to you guys all the time about, drinking enough water or really eating your water, which means eating a lot of fruit. Okay. Some people say water is a whole scam, that we shouldn't have to buy water at all. I'm not sure if I agree with that because I teach you guys to have fruit first thing in the AM. And once you start eating cooked food, no more fruit for the rest of the day because that fruit ferments and it stays on top of your stomach and it starts to rot faster than the cooked food. So if you don't have water or something to hydrate you the rest of the day, it's going to be a little bit off. So yeah, but eat your water as much as possible. Then yeah, have the regular water. Okay. Someone says I never question why I eat the way that I do. That's what sent me back to school. That right there is what sent me to get a PhD in educational psychology and research. Absolutely. I'm like, why am I this way? What makes me have these uncontrollable moments? It got to a point to where I knew that my fibroids were being fed from the meat and the dairy that I was eating, from the chitlins, the hog maw, the bacon, the processed meats, right? I knew that those foods were encouraging me to bleed even more, but I couldn't stop. So I was like, why am I this way? And then the answer came to me, psychology, the psychology of eating. So let me figure this thing out. And now, obviously you guys already know I have the cheat codes to help us rewire our minds to think better and look at food the way that it is, either life or not so much life. Okay. All right. So when you hear these cues, just pause. That's what I learned in Kabbalah, actually. Pause. What a pleasure. That's the transformation happening in real time. Okay. When do you guys think these habits start to form? They start to form early on in childhood. They happen with your family culture, patterns, stress issues, right? Cultural norms, all these kind of things is when these things happen. Okay. So stop. Hopefully you can get to a place to where you just stop blaming yourself. It's the environment around you. However, now that I'm waking you up from these thoughts and from these patterns that you can start to interrupt, now it is on you to do what you got to do to stop these insane patterns, right? Keep investing in yourself. Okay. A lot of these things are not hunger. It's just the programming. Again, for one, 3 times a day, snacks in between, bullcrap. We don't need that. Okay. Let me ask you guys another question. What does living better longer look like for you? What does living better longer look like for you? Tell me. Walking without pain or a cane. Yes. Kind of like what I talked about in the beginning of this session. A lot of us come in this world the way that we leave out. So we come in as babies needing assistance, needing our dependents, our caretakers, and then we leave out of here the same way. Canes, knee braces, wheelchairs. And I hope I'm not sounding too harsh. I'm just giving you reality. I think a lot of people don't think about these things, visualizing themselves as the same habits I have today, where I know I love these foods that I know don't love me back. If I keep eating them, what's going to happen to me? You're going to end up leading to those dependent type things. And please get it out of your mind that it's just aging. No, it's the foods that are breaking down our bodies. Okay? Someone else says not being on a bunch of medications. Absolutely. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Think about 100 years ago. We weren't on all these medications. Do you guys know where these medications came? I'm not going to talk about it long. I want you guys to come into my school because this is how I get censored. Just Google. I don't even want to mention the name, but it's a large family. Uh, it's Jay-Z's record company, The Rock, right? But look at the full extension of the name. Okay, just Google that and look at how medications came about. Okay. All right. Let's see. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just come to my school and I'll let you know. It's a whole video on it. All right. Being able to play with my kids and grandkids. Yes. Right. Long. Grandma and grandpa does not have to be, old and in a wheelchair with knee replacements, all that kind of stuff. We don't have to live like that, you guys. I'll be 50 this year, and I feel better today than I did 10 years ago. I do. So, yeah, you don't have to be, just because you're a certain age, you don't have to feel that same way as well. You don't. All right? Being present and active at family events, huge. It's starting to become to where a lot of us don't even participate in family reunions anymore because we don't feel like ourselves anymore. So attendance ends up becoming low. I was talking to somebody about high school reunions the other day. A lot of those the participation is very low because a lot of people don't feel comfortable in their own skin. They don't, they're not where they want to be and where they thought they would be years later after high school. And so they don't come. For me, reunions are just about being there, like being in the presence of other people, seeing people that I haven't seen in years. I don't care about your status. I don't care about, your job, your title, all this kind of stuff. It's not important. It's not important. But if you don't like where you are, change it. Okay? Absolutely. Okay? Not being controlled by cravings. All right. So this is someone that's in my program right now. They're learning how to control their cravings by feeding. How do you do that? By feeding yourself what your body is truly asking for, the real nutrients. A lot of times that we reach for chocolate or reaching for crunchy chips is because our bodies is asking for real nutrients. So when you feed your body that, the less you'll have space for cravings, or the quieter the cravings will become, because you're like, well, I'm actually good. Now, psychologically, you might still reach because it's out of habit by this point. You've been doing this for 20 plus years, but after a while, once you become more aware, that's like, oh, we're not doing that anymore. So I'm actually fine. I'm okay. Let me go color. Let me go read, things like that. Let me go figure out a way to calm and clear my mind. Let me ask you guys one more question and I'm going to go. All right. What's one thing that you don't want your future self to depend on? What is one thing that you don't want your future self to depend on? Someone says again, medication, diabetes medication, blood pressure medication. Yeah. Pain meds just to get through the day. Man. Somebody else says sleeping pills. The thought that we need something outside of ourselves to do X, Y, and Z, that's not normal. It's very common, unfortunately, but it's not normal. Okay? Our bodies are so intelligent. We don't need these things outside of ourselves in order to do X, Y, and Z. So, in order to sleep, in order to control our blood pressure, in order to control our pain. No, we don't need these things outside of ourselves. It's the control here and here, what we're putting into our bodies, that is what should level out everything else. Okay? Sugar to feel better. Okay. So basically, you're using food as a crutch. Totally understand. Yes, it's the attachment to memories, to nostalgia, to family, all these kind of things. Like we're actually just wanting to go back to a space and time where things were simpler. That the food industry knows this stuff. That's why they play on our emotions. Okay, so if you went to Dairy Queen every Sunday with your dad, very similar to my upbringing. Like especially the year after my parents got divorced, my dad would come to my mom's house to pick up me and my sister, take us to it was Dairy Queen, Baskin Robbins, wherever place, right? Um, if you ate an ice cream cone every single day or 3 ice cream cones every day, would that bring your childhood back? It's not, right? Sorry to, I know it sounds rough, but that is just the truth. So what else can we do to actually bring those good memories back? We could just sit back and think about those times. Put a smile on your face. Call someone that will help you with those memories if that's possible. If they're not here physically on earth, you can talk to the creator. Talk out loud. Whomever you believe in that's more powerful than you, then you can have that conversation. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing wrong with that at all. Okay? But figure out a way that's going to actually bring you comfort in those memories that you have versus reaching for the food for that comfort. Because we already know where that's going to send us. It's gonna feel good on the tongue for about 10 seconds. And then we're gonna get bloated. And then we're gonna think about the weight gain that we're gonna have. And then comes on the shame and the guilt. And then it just this continuous cycle of, man, I don't like this. And so you keep reaching more and more and more. And then you get down to a place where it just spirals out of control, where it's like, you know what? I just give up. I'm so deep in, it don't even matter anymore. Just give me the ice cream, give me the sugar, give me the cakes, candy, all that kind of stuff. And it's just a continuous cycle where it can get to a very scary place. So we want to interrupt those patterns for those reasons as well. Okay? So sit back again and sometime tonight after we get off here and think about where you don't want to be. Don't dwell in it too long. But again, if you continue on with the same patterns that you have right now, think about where that's going to lead you. And then use that temporary motivation to better yourself. Okay? I'm going to give you guys 2 weeks access to my 13-week program when you sign up today. Okay? Go to the link in my bio. It's my school. You get a 7-day free access, and then another week access after that for only $5. If you don't like what you see in the first 7 days, you just bow out, and then nothing, you don't lose anything, but you tried. But I'm telling you, I help you become more aware of things that people don't even realize what they're doing. I help you bring the consciousness out. Okay? I want to do what I can to help you guys. Anybody else have any other questions or thoughts? Anything that you're dealing with that's really tough? You use food as a reward system. That is understandable, because I'm just gonna guess. I have no idea who you are, but I'm just gonna guess, if you use food as a reward system today, someone in your family used a reward system when you were younger. A lot of times, let's just say mom, right? Mom just says, or dad, whomever, they say, all right, you get an A on your report card, we're gonna take you out for ice cream. If you work out today, then I'm going to allow myself a cheat meal. You know, all these, what they are is just excuses, especially if you're a grown adult today and you say, you know what, I've been great all week and I'm going to allow myself a cheat meal this weekend. That's just an excuse to have what you really want to have. So call it what it is. It's a choice. And there's nothing wrong with that if you just start to be honest with yourselves. We just lie to ourselves so much. That's how we sweep things under the rug. And then when you don't see those real true things, you can't correct those things because you don't see it. So just start being honest with yourself. It is what it is. It's a choice. Now, how do you start to make better choices? I help you become more aware in my program. That's what I do. I help you retrain your brain to see food for what it is. Okay? And it's not about white knuckling your way through and willpower. No. I myself, like I said, I was raised on I can't even think of chitlins and bacon and all these processed meats and mac and cheese, all this kind of stuff. I have zero desire for any of those things anymore. And it's not because I'm like, ooh, I gotta have discipline. Ooh, I gotta have motivation. No, I truly know what that is now. I've paid attention to how that stuff makes me feel. I look beyond the first 2 minutes of those bites of food, and I think about how it actually made my fibroids grow. Fibroids are tumors that should not be in your body. And it made me have month-long periods. I paid attention to that every single time that I ate it. Every single time that I ate it, I paid more attention to it. And then I turned off my TV. And then I started paying attention to the actual bites as I chewed. And I was like, you know what? This actually don't really taste that good. When you start paying attention to your bites and not eating while you're watching TV, not eating while you're scrolling, not eating while anything else distracts you, you actually realize the food, not so great. Home cooking tastes way better than these fast food restaurants. We just don't want to take the time to cook, which is taking the time to invest in ourselves. Okay? Fast food restaurants didn't start winning because home food tasted bad. It just started winning because it was convenient. But now I'm going to ask you, what's convenient for 5-10 years from now? Is it convenient for you have to succumb to a wheelchair because you kept choosing to eat these foods that are literally breaking down your body? Is that convenient? Is it convenient for you to have to depend on someone else bathing you and feeding you and dressing you, wiping your mouth because you chose to keep eating foods that are breaking down your body? That's what I want you to visualize from now on, okay? If nothing changes today, how are you going to look and feel 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now? That's a real question. Think about that. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow, the same time, same place. Deuces. I'm sorry, give you a shout out for your birthday. Manny Powers, 864. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. All right. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Subscribe. I'll see you tomorrow. Deuces.